What's going on, everybody? Welcome to Letters from the Long Box. Viewer mailbag question with Mikey Sutton with a special episode this week where Mikey's got a long-term spec list for a Spider-Man property, believe it or not. I'm rocking my Yancey Street Bar and Grill shirt on.
That's a badass shirt, dude. I was about to say something like, man, I want that shirt.
All right, I knew I was going to like it, man. You got to have the Yancey Street boys, man.
You gotta have it there, man.
Really appreciate everybody for joining us on a Sunday afternoon. We're going to do it at 5 o'clock. Consistently inconsistent is the best way I'm going to put it. But I know we're already late, but, while you guys are congregating, why not play some music for you guys is what I say. So here's while you guys are congregating. Let's go to DJ. We'll go DJ Scratch Bastard. Haven't had him in a while.
The damn thing. Do the damn thing. Do the damn thing. Make love and dance and sing, yeah. Got to get on the floor. Life can give you more. Come on.
All right, way to hype you up on a Sunday. Do the damn thing, you know what I mean?
The only comic show that has beats. Come on, man.
The first. I've seen some exactly. Other, yeah. So.
Oh yeah. There's some copycats out there.
So welcome to Letters from the Long. Welcome to Letters from the Long Box, where Mikey Sutton answers your questions about the MCU, DC,
Letters
Image.
From the Long Box, where Mikey Sutton answers.
Oh.
Sorry about that. That's all me. Fixed.
Always auto.
Yeah.
Where Mikey answers your questions. So if you have any questions in the live chat, we will get to them at the end of the show. So please hold off your questions to the end of the show. Moderators, keep on reminding people to leave their questions toward the end of the show. We have some questions, and then we have a long-term spec list that is rather long regarding the next trilogy of Spider-Man films. So this is a Cannonball exclusive. So get your pens and paper ready for this list. Most of it is pretty obvious, but there's some interesting ones in there and some other issues that you may be looking at because, most Spider-Man issues are really, really priced out. But this show is sponsored by our friends over at KRSComics.com. Use the discount code of LOTLB to get 15% off anything in the KRS Comics exclusive store, including the KRS Pull Box. If you buy weekly comics, you can go to KRS Pull Box, and guess what? If you use discount code of LOTLB, you'll get 15% off of those as well. So there you go. So hit up our friends at KRSPullBox.com. They're doing great things. Also, check out KRS Comics Worldwide. I'll shoot the link in there. Anyway, just look up KRS Comics Worldwide. It's a new Facebook group where we'll be dropping exclusives. I'll be partnering with them directly. I'm a moderator on there as well. Chris is a good friend of mine, so it's a perfect relationship that we have. And if you weren't paying attention, this bad boy dropped on Friday, and the set sold out. Absolutely gorgeous. Homage to the Ultimate Spider-Man #1. And it may even be appearing on this here show. But if you missed out on that, you missed out on this too, because this one was absolutely gorgeous. But let's get right to it, boys and girls. So if you have any questions that you want Mikey to answer on next week's show, do not leave them in the live chat. Leave them in the comments after the video post, so that way Mikey can go through them and see what we got. So we're going to go and answer the questions first. Then we're going to do the long-term spec list. Then we're going to answer your questions. So this is going to be like a 10-hour show, basically.
Yeah.
All right, Mikey, are you ready?
I'm ready.
All right, our first question comes from Elijah Isaiah. Thoughts on my fan cast? I want Leo DiCaprio to be Mr. Sinister. I heard he's a huge mutant fan. What are your thoughts, T-VO and Mikey? Also, any scoops on casting for Mr. Sinister?
No news on casting as of yet. I think Mr. Sinister, I think he's going to appear in the second of the new X-Men films for the MCU. So it's going to be a while before they start casting that character, I believe.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. Didn't Leo say something about he doesn't want to do superhero films or something a while back? I'm trying to recall that, but
I can't. Can you imagine him in a superhero? I just can't imagine it. I just have a hard time with it.
He's one of those snooty actor types, you know.
Yeah.
It's from hanging out with Scorsese all the time. Yeah.
There you go.
The elitist that he is. But the Mr. Sinister idea of him kind of intrigues me, though, as a mutant fan, because to be honest with you, I don't know who would play Mr. Sinister. I'd have to maybe a new actor or somebody like that. I don't know. It'd be interesting, but that'd be something to picture. I don't know. Be interesting to see.
All right.
Wasn't John Hamm cast as Mr. Sinister?
I was just going to say John Hamm would be perfect for John Hamm.
I think he'd be
Mr.
great
Sinister.
at it.
Yeah.
He's still my choice.
Yeah. I mean, who knows? He may show up on some other stuff. You never know.
You never know.
John Hamm is going to be on episode 5 of Falcon Winter. I don't know. I'm just kidding.
We'll
get to that. We'll get to that later. Actually, what we think our cameos are for the Falcon and Winter Soldier episode 5. I think people are way off base on some of their theories on who they think there is. But anyway,
you know it's Mephisto. Come on.
Yeah, it's Mephisto. Yeah. All right. Next question is from Thomas Maridasan. Sorry if I butchered your name. Great show, Mikey and T-VO. Always appreciate these scoops. I think you should do a movie review show. Your analysis is on point. Question: any news on the upcoming and long-delayed Spawn film? Look at that, a 2-for-1.
All I know is that it's still long delayed.
Yeah.
I think they're having problems developing that film.
So here's what I read and heard, that Todd McFarlane realized that writing a screenplay is not as easy as he thought it was. Remember, he said he wanted to write and direct it, and I don't think he can do either. I think he'd be better served off just being a writer, maybe, and getting somebody to co-write the script with him. I think he turned off a lot of people also when he was saying that it would be a Spawnless film, meaning not the version that we're used to seeing in the comics. And I think fans didn't like that, so maybe they're gonna rewrite. I don't know, but Todd, he's kind of, his ego is his own worst enemy. So there you go. I'm shocked that there hasn't been a trailer yet, because I thought that was already filmed and everything. Right. So but I don't. Hardcore Spawn fans, I don't think they want to see Spawn as an entity in the background. They want to see a full-on crazy flowing cape like that 90s film.
Oh yeah. What a disappointment that would be. Like, you're to see Spawn, but he's in the background.
Yeah. All right. Next question comes from Nikki's Comics Addictions. Oops. Hold on. All right. Hey guys, just wondering if there's an update on Punchline news as far as live action or otherwise.
Punchline is definitely coming, whether it's HBO Max or theatrical. Remains to be seen, but with the multiverse, it's probably both.
Yeah.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah, if you haven't been paying attention, if you're not in that world of the Snyder Cut universe and everything there, Mikey, why don't you tell them? Tell them what what the recent Flash news was for people who don't watch the other shows where you broke this news on, and what they're planning for the Flash.
Well, what they're planning for the Flash is the film is basically going to say goodbye to the Snyderverse, and killing off Ben Affleck is a huge part of that. And even though we all know, I mean, people who read all the comic sites, we know that the standard cut is not considered canon by DC Films. They're gonna go beyond that. They're gonna completely ignore it, even though they'll use some of the same actors. The continuity doesn't exist anymore, but the thing is, the general public doesn't know that. So the Flash will be the one to say, "Hey, that universe is gone.
Really?
That planet is dead." So kind of like Crisis on Infinite Earths, where they blow up the planet.
Yeah, right.
And-
He just didn't have heard. Didn't have heard.
Yeah, so
Flashpoint is
Affleck
basically going to
is-
reboot the DC universe, right?
yeah. So Ben Affleck will do his Tony Stark Endgame death, and they'll just move on from there. So what's going on right now is Warner Brothers is in itself in a multiverse, because Walter Hamada, the president of DC Films, has his own vision going forward. On the other hand, you have The Rock with Black Adam and said, "Hey, I want the Snyderverse." And so you're going to have different directors with a pocket universe, all of which have nothing to do with each other. And it's a big, jumbled mess.
And Hamada and Jim Lee said as much during fandom. Remember when they said, look, we're going to have DC films where directors can have their own vision. And then on HBO Max, they can all intercede here. But then it becomes a jarbled mess. I mean, for comic book fans or, hardcore fans of the movies, they will understand, the differences between the two. But for the casual movie going or streaming watching fan, I think they will be confused.
Yeah,
you know what I mean.
And it's really funny because a lot of the inspiration came from Greg Berlanti and his Crisis crossover,
which was
but they
great.
failed to understand those are like 6-7 TV shows tied together.
And they build up to it.
And exactly, like years, right? Years. Like how long has the Flash been on the air?
Yeah.
I mean, and so they've been building up to this and connecting all the stories together so the audiences understand what's going on. But you're going to throw this at them in one movie. Hey, multiverse. Like you get a crash course in one film. Like you're supposed to get it,
If I were to do that with the Flash film and reboot everything, I would make it a trilogy, right? You can't do it in one film, So I mean, people should just be happy they're getting a Flash film. That thing has been in development longer than I can remember, to be honest with you. It's been how many directors? Like I think it's on its third director now or something like that. It's kind of crazy.
Oh God, who's counting now?
And while the Flash movie was in development, fans kind of grew really affinity toward the Grant Gustin Grant. Did I say his name? Grant Gustin, right? The CW version of the Flash.
Of course.
People really like him. They
Ezra Miller, just his stock went down.
Well, I mean, the two. I mean, they both play the character really differently, right?
Correct.
Ezra Miller kind of plays a kind of neurotic kind of. I have no friends. I need friends. That line just. But we're not going to go there. But anyway, thanks for the question. All right, next up is from Marvel fan. I'm sorry. Do you want to add something, Mikey?
Yeah, I guess this might be a cannonball, so might as well.
Shit! Hold on. Let me get it ready. Go. This is your first cannonball, boys and girls. This is your first cannonball.
Ladies and gentlemen, can I please have your attention? I've just been handed an urgent and horrifying news story. And I need all of you to stop what you're doing and listen. Cannonball!
Yeah, I just realized I've never mentioned this before. So this is an exclusive to Lords of the Long Box, because I've never written this before or anything. What I'm hearing is about Marvel's version of the multiverse, because they're doing one for Doctor Strange. What they're planning on doing, and Kevin Feige is a very intelligent man. He knows not to confuse the non-comic book readers out there. And the way they're going to do the multiverse, he's not going to throw everything at you at once. They're going to start off with the Spider-Verse, because people are already familiar with the Spider-Verse from the animated film. So you start with what people understand, what people already know. So the Spider-Verse basically is going to introduce the multiverse. Not like DC's going to throw a whole bunch of different planets at you. It's going to throw 3 different Batmans at you or whatever, and there's time travel. But I mean, all this really confusing shit. So the MCU will play it much more cautiously. So hey, there is a Spider-Verse, where you have different Spider-Mans. So they're going to start out very simple like that, and then they will expand from there. And Doctor Strange and No Way Home will all explain it, but you're not going to get like, here's Batman 1, 2, 3, and
Yeah, because Spider-Man 3 is coming out before Doctor Strange 2.
Yeah.
Oh, I was just about to ask that. Remind us about that, because it's been so long.
It's coming out December of this year, actually. Spider-Man 3.
Yeah, and No Way Home will lead into Doctor Strange 2. So
there you go. All right.
Unlike the Flash, it sounds bad, dude. It just sounds.
Yeah, they have it. The WB executives or whoever is just kind of knee-jerk reaction and let's just do it all at once. It's like they don't have patience.
No, they don't.
But I also see it as their corporate overlords. AT&T want to see dividends immediately. You know what I mean?
Oh, that too. Yeah.
I don't think they have the patience for because whatever people want to say about Disney, they said, Feige, this is yours. Do whatever you want. However long it takes, you do it because it's working. You know what I mean? But I'm pretty sure AT&T suits only look at numbers. And they're like, we need this now. We need this now. Now.
They
as
want
opposed
their
to
investment.
storytelling.
Right.
All right. Yeah. There you go, boys and girls. All right. Next up is from...
see, even AT&T can understand the multiverse. They canceled New Gods because why is there a different dark side here? I'm like,
Well, that's why they also canceled Wonder Girl, right?
Yeah.
Who's Flora, whatever her name is, because there's already a Wonder Girl on the Titans team.
Yeah,
you know
it's confusing, right?
Yeah, I mean, they could have just gave her a different name. I mean, God, they didn't have to cancel it, but either way, anyway. So, but you get Naomi, so there is a consolation prize.
Oh, there you go. Yeah. Is there any excitement for that? I mean,
yeah. All right. I like this question right here. Next is from Marvel Fan 3000. Is Nadine Hassan, also known as Glyph, going to appear in the MCU?
Ooh, we have talked about this.
I thought of you when I saw that question. I said I had to make sure this was on the list of questions tonight. Yeah, she's coming. She'll be part of the Midnight Suns.
Nice. Oh, all right.
Yeah. First appearance is what? The Howling Commandos.
Howling Commandos.
Howling
Commandos. In the woods.
I still think that she can be introduced in Moon Knight since she's part of the kind of Egyptian lore and everything. It would be a perfect way to just like what they did with Echo, right? They introduced her in Hawkeye and now she's getting her own series. I'm not saying Glyph would get her own series, but good way to introduce her would just to put her in Moon Knight since it's obviously going to have Egyptian themes to it. So I think that would be great. So good question, Marvel Fan 3000, because I got my Howling Commandos of S.H.I.E.L.D. just sitting in the box and waiting, baby.
It. You can find them in the dollar boxes still. We talked about them a year ago. It's not.
ABC is intrigued by that character, by the way.
Oh, that's good.
Really? Yeah, because for those who don't know, the present ABC programming, I forgot her name, was saying that they're in talks right now with Feige to see what character, because ABC definitely wants something. I mean, they don't have anything anymore. At one point, they had the Inhumans bad. Agent
Very
Carter,
bad.
good. Agents of
very
S.H.I.E.L.D.
good.
I liked Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
Yeah,
So they had
I
3 shows at one point, and then there was supposed to be a spinoff show. Remember, there was supposed to be a Mockingbird spinoff show?
Marvel's Most Wanted. They shot a pilot, and then that was it. We never saw it.
And now they have nothing. So I think and the ABC is lagging behind in ratings behind NBC and CBS. So I think they probably want a bigger name character, and maybe Feige's like, nah, we'll give you this one. There's like, can we have Gambit? No, you gotta have Speed.
No.
You know what I mean? It's like
They're not getting that mutant.
Yeah.
They do like Glyph though, because she's female and it's also horror. So There is a way of getting male and female viewers to this.
And supernatural type stuff is all the rage on TV now. Matter of fact, the Never starts tonight. I can't wait to see that on HBO.
Also, the whole diversity thing. I mean, there's so many qualities.
Exactly.
To this character that they're looking for. So
we'll
see.
All right. Great question, Marvel Fan 3000. Next up is from Eric S. Hurd. So if you talked about Black Cat coming, what do you think it's going to follow the comics by having her physical encounter during college, which makes her become Black Cat? I have a feeling in the long-term spec list to answer this, but I'll let you answer this as well, Mike.
Yeah, I was kind of puzzled by this question because I bought the first Black Cat appearance off the stands at 7-Eleven when it went.
Correct. Right.
Immediately fell in love with the character. So when I was reading this question, it sounds like you're implying that she was raped. When did this happen? I don't recall.
Yeah, I don't know what the physical encounter, like her and Peter Parker making out. I don't. Yeah,
I don't know. Because I was like, what define physical encounter? Like it's like I think there's something traumatic happening to her, right? Which causes her, like. Did they retcon her origin? Because I don't know about that one.
Yeah. So actually, in the comics, there is a story that was written by Kevin Smith where something bad happens to her. If I recall correctly, it's in the Kevin Smith run where I think she gets sexually assaulted or something like that. I remember when it came out, there was some controversy about it, and this is the story is called "The Evil That Men Do" by it was a Kevin Smith run by Kevin Smith wrote this Spider-Man Black Cat story. So, and that's what
so they retconned their origin then.
Yeah, I think that's what they were referring to. Good Lord, I'm shocked.
If that's the case, I don't see them doing that.
No, that's not going to happen.
That's not. Yeah.
All right, but great question though. All right, next question up is from Paulo Perez. Asks, what's the word on Adam Warlock? Is the character still a go for Guardians of the Galaxy 3? It says 2 here, but I'm assuming he meant 3. Do you think he'll be a prominent character in the MCU?
Yes and yes. I think Warlock is going to be a huge character for the MCU. They're one of those characters that they have been building up to for a reason.
Right.
And James Gunn, he had the tease in Guardians 2 about Adam Warlock.
Yeah, at the end, I think it was one of the end credit scene.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, and you know what? I mean, Guardians 3 will be his last Guardians movie. He's gonna be in it. Come on, he's not gonna just drop that and have
Guardians 3.
Else
You mean?
Yeah. So yeah.
And then from a production standpoint, you're not going to make something like that and then not bring it to life. I mean, that was a key end credit scene. That was one of the things where everybody
she
said.
Literally said Adam.
Yes.
In the so and then that whole thing happened with James Gunn. Remember the cancel of the cancel culture of him, and then he ended up going. So, but he's a pretty big part of the Marvel cosmic storylines, especially with Thanos and the Infinity Stones, gems. Yeah. So definitely, when Marvel goes cosmic, he has to be part of it. And there's a reason why Pip the Troll was on our list. People are hearing things.
And spoiler alert: if you don't want to know anything about the Eternals, can I turn off the volume right now?
Hold on, let me give him. Let me count them down. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Go ahead.
Yeah. So Pip the Troll is in the Eternals, or in Eternals, I mean.
There you go.
And that's Adam's friend. I mean, they're buddies. So you start off Pip the Troll, Adam Warlock is next.
So that's why that Pip the Troll book has been picking up, because people are finding out. I can't wait for an Eternals trailer. Oh my God. I heard somebody.
Oh, I can't wait either. The mystery is bugging me. Like, what is it?
It started off as a movie like, meh, to people are like saying, whoa, this is the biggest cosmic thing the Marvel's ever done. So that's pretty cool. All right. Thanks for the question, Paulo. Next question is from Don't Call Me Wave. Sorry to have to throw this on you, Mikey, but it's another Snyderverse question. If the Snyderverse is successful enough, is there a chance that HBO Green Lantern series could be incorporated into that continuity?
Yeah, no. It's Greg Berlanti series. It's in his own Verse. I mean, I'm not even sure if it'll be tied in with the Arrowverse right now. Guys, see how confusing this is? Arrowverse, Abramsverse,
Yeah.
Multiverse, Snyderverse. I'm like, just make up your mind. Here's what really bugs me, TiVo. They're drawing inspiration from Crisis and Infinite Earths, right? The whole point of Crisis was to get rid of all the different Earths.
Yes.
Yeah,
It was to clean it up.
Yeah, it was to clean it up, and now the comics have cleaned up, and now the movies want to go in that same direction. Oh, hey, shout out to my real life cousin Devo in the house. What's up, David? All right, cousins in the house. All right, let's go. This is our last question, by the way, from Jacob. Hey guys, who is your all-time favorite superhero and why? We'll start with you, Otto.
Ooh. My favorite superhero and why is probably it's Jean Grey, the Phoenix. Phoenix is my favorite character. It's without a doubt. I'm not even going to try to hem and haw anybody. It's Jean Grey, Phoenix. One of the greatest characters ever, one of the greatest storylines ever by Don Byrne and Dave Cockrum. Just iconic. And, the Phoenix is forever. So that's all you got to know about that.
The Phoenix Force. What about you, Mikey?
This always shocks people when I tell them, but it's the Huntress.
Interesting.
For a couple of different reasons. I discovered the Huntress when I first started reading comic books. I was, about 10 years old. And, puberty was starting to,
No, oh, God, this is going wrong. Those fishnet stockings.
But she's hot, So that was... But also, she's I thought, a more vicious Batman. I mean, and she had no qualms about killing. Remember a couple of years ago, she ripped somebody's tongue out. I mean, she's always been shown as a more violent character than that.
For some reason, I was thinking Zatanna. That's why I was like, fishnet stockings.
Don't forget the kind of boob window back in the 70s too. Remember?
Oh yeah. My favorite superhero of all time is Doctor Strange.
I'd say definitely. You are Doctor Strange, man. Come on.
I am. I just don't have the mustache today, man. It's because I love magic and sorcery. I dabble in a little bit of sorcery and evil dark forces myself every now and then, but it was just cool, man. He doesn't have superhuman strength. He relies on the ability of magic, and anytime something big happens, Doctor Strange is there. They call him in. You call the doctor when strange shit happens, and that's why Doctor Strange is so cool. And when I saw the Doctor Strange movie was being made and Benedict Cumberbatch was playing him, I thought it was just perfect. And it's also, a lot of characters have this kind of arc, but to his being a cocky surgeon, headstrong, didn't listen to anybody, and then humbled by getting into a car accident and losing the ability of his hands. That's kind of like should be a good story in life, right? If, be humble or, bad shit will happen. You can be confident, but not cocky. I like to call myself, I'm confident. Not cocky, but anyway.
Well, I think Dr. Strange toes the line on that. He toes the line, and it's important.
Yeah, he does.
The humility of it aspect I enjoyed, and he's and Tim and I will agree on this. And the Steve Ditko Doctor Strange is some of the best stuff ever. So
trippy stuff. Steve Ditko and Frank Bruner absolutely killed it on Doctor Strange. God, but it's also just the purity or the magic, the use of it, and the world building. The Vishanti and the Living Tribunal, all these things. It starts with sorcery, and he builds off, because I also love the cosmic universe. My top three characters are Thor, Silver Surfer, and Doctor Strange, throwing Shang-Chi and Iron Fist, as well as top five. Hashtag Finn Jones is curly-haired fuck. I have to throw that in. Yeah, anytime. It's like invoking somebody's name and they get the middle finger.
Don't say it.
All right, boys and girls. Sorry.
I love when I was a kid, just the whole concept of like eternity that just blew me away as a kid.
Yeah.
Like, whoa, what is this?
Yeah.
I've always said, which I think which makes this conversation so diverse, is I didn't really start getting into Doctor Strange until I got back into comics in my 40s, because when I was a kid, everything had to be grounded in New York City. Like the X-Men were, in the United States, like Star Wars was in space, superheroes were, Batman was in Gotham, Spider-Man was in New York City, the mutants were on the East Coast. Everything was handed to me. For me to grasp it, it took a while, and now I gobble it all up, man. I absolutely love it. So
I think when I was
so funny.
Yeah, I realize now as I'm older, the characters I loved as a kid were the ones that I would know how to write myself.
Right.
Because I know nothing about science, so
Yeah.
Or Norse mythology, but the grounded stuff, like what you said. But anything horror or crime related, I felt I gravitated to, like the Huntress.
Interesting. Yep.
Yeah.
And I love Doctor Strange.
Otto brings up a good point too on, and a lot of people always give me shit for not being a DC fan. I read DC comics, right? But I normally read the major events and team books. Like I'm not really into, because when I was younger, I couldn't relate to DC comics because they were cities I never heard of. What is Central City? What is Gotham? What is Metropolis? But Marvel Comics was always grounded in real cities. When you read, you know what I mean? That was kind of a weird take that, on what's a city that the Green Arrow's from, in Seattle or somewhere? Is it Seattle or some other weird name?
Well, it's supposed to be Seattle, but it's not on the show.
Yeah, why can't I even think of the name of this?
Yeah, so that's why I always why can't they just say New York or LA or you know? But and that's what led me to Marvel, and then just went down the rabbit hole from that. I mean, there's some DC characters here and there, but for the most part, I really couldn't relate with. It's kind of sad. I can relate with Doctor Strange, but I can't relate with
a made up city.
Yeah. All right, boys and girls. So next up is for the long-term spec list.
Here we go.
This is a list that Mikey Sutton got from his inside sources about the upcoming trilogy after Spider-Man number 3 that takes place during his college years. Mikey, why don't you give a primer of what this next trilogy is, and then you can say what the first character is, and I'll throw up the graphic.
Yeah, so these are the next 3 films after No Way Home. They all involve him going to college and him graduating in the 3rd film. And some of these characters will only show up in cameos. Some may not show up at all. Again, these are characters they are researching for these movies. Now, keep this in mind. What they're researching is the times these characters met Spider-Man. So if you're speculating on this, that's what you need to look out for, is when they first met. Because some of these characters, their first appearances are way, way pricey.
And what have we always said on the show? That is the next level of spec is, now that Fox and Sony characters are more and more into the MCU, is start looking for when the characters first met. And I've been pushing this, I've been towing this line for easily
2 years.
a year.
Yeah,
2 years, a year now.
You've been on this for years now.
Yeah, so I mean, because everybody's going to get the first appearance or the first issue, but you know what? Get the first meeting, because now we're going to see them first meeting in the movie. So I'll let you read the list, Mikey.
Yeah, sure.
Go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah, a large part of this is because the writers are going to look at the comics for ideas to see what scenes they can pull off in the movies that are hilarious or memorable. But you know how Marvel Studios, they love to pay homage to the comics.
Oh, yeah.
Correct.
They love we see it all the time.
Yeah.
And so what are the opportunities? You have to go through the comic books,
Yep. All right, Mikey, the list is yours. I'm putting up the graphics in the same order you sent them in email. Who is first? Mikey?
I'm not saying the graphics yet.
Oh, no. Okay. There you go.
Okay. Yeah, the Prowler is going to be showing up, and actually he's already been in Far From Home. Not as a Prowler, but the character Aaron Davis has.
Yeah, and also in Into the Spider-Verse, the cartoon. So it was, I think, what's his name, Childish Gambino that played him in the movie, right? His uncle. And remember, there's multiple iterations of the Prowler. So, but the Aaron Davis version, which is Miles Morales' uncle of the Prowler.
Donald Glover. I'm sorry, Donald Glover.
Donald Glover. Danny Glover. I'm getting too old for this shit. I'm getting too old for this shit to be playing a Prowler. But his first appearance is in the Ultimate Comics Spider-Man #1. Otto, what are you looking at on cover price? What kind of prices are dropping recently?
Oh my God, this is on fire. Plus 33% as of 2 days ago. We've got the highest known 9/8 sold of June and June 30th for $899. 9/8. That's actually the average sales is 681. But here's the difference, and we like to talk about this here on the channel when it comes to moderns. So the 9/8 is 681. But if you found the 9/6, you're only paying about 171.
Yeah, because it's
that's
a modern
important.
book. Yeah,
correct.
Yeah, 2011. Yeah,
yeah.
All right.
So you can see the big discrepancy there. But
yeah,
Now,
I thought
did he ever meet Peter Parker though?
not in the comics.
Okay.
No.
I don't think, because I think he ended up getting killed. But
Oh,
man,
okay.
the Prowler was badass in Into the Spider-Verse, the animated version.
Oh, he's killer.
Yeah.
Killer.
He made you scared of him. The way
course.
that they made the sound effects and everything is pretty dope. All right, so first on the list, boys and girls, is Aaron Davis, aka the Prowler. Next up is one that's a classic.
Gwen Stacy is next, and here's the interesting part. She will not be paired up with Peter Parker. She'll be paired up with Miles Morales.
Interesting.
You want to do a totally different take on her? Also, that's also based on the comic book as well. So she will be Miles Morales' girlfriend.
Well, to be honest with you, that could definitely mean leading her to be Gwenpool. Or
Yeah,
Gwen,
yeah.
excuse me, Spider-Gwen.
Spider-Gwen, yeah.
Ghost Spider, whatever the hell she's called now. She's got like 4 different names. So she started as Spider-Gwen, and now she's called, I think, Ghost Spider, or as Spider-Ghost or something like that. But look out for either one of them. Spider-Gwen, obviously a very hot book. This is obviously a hot book. What kind of prices does this book have, Otto?
Listen, if you're looking for your 9/8, don't bother because there isn't any right now. All right, well, at least recorded. Okay, you're looking at a 9/6. The sales average, there was only one recorded sale, and that was for $6,456.
God damn.
Yeah.
Damn.
All right. Now, yes, right. 6K. So 6,500 for a 9/6. But then when you go down to, like let's say an investor grade of an 8.5, you're looking at about $700 for this book.
There you go.
You
That's
know?
a sweet spot.
That's a sweet spot right there. I like that. 9.2 is, in my opinion, a little pricey at about 2K for this book. But you know what? At that 8.5 in this book with this red cover, that's decent. And also, you guys know the grade that I like for the Silver Age stuff, a 5.0. It's only about $250. So obtainable for this book. And as we just talked about, important.
So what's interesting is I always call this the Feige effect, right? Because Sony did Gwen Stacy, right?
Yeah.
And the book didn't really move. But when the MCU gets a hold of it, and we've already seen it with all the X-Men books, all the Fantastic Four books, I mean, people are like, you know what, screw whatever Fox is doing. But once Feige gets a hold of it, it exponentially bumps up the value. So, if you can find this in a 5.0, go out and get it. All right, so Gwen Stacy, first appearance, Amazing Spider-Man number 31 from 1965. All right, next up is a very interesting book as well.
Captain George Stacy, because Gwen's father is next on the list.
Yeah, so I think he also appeared. He was played in the film as well, right? I don't know if they'll use the same actor. What's his name? The comedian guy who did Rescue Me and everything.
Oh God, what's his name, man?
Help me out. Dennis Leary.
Dennis Leary, yeah.
You're right. It was Dennis Leary. Yes.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Dennis Leary played Captain George Stacy, right? I thought he did a pretty good job of it too. But Mikey? What are the chances you think them bringing back those actors? Well, obviously not Gwen Stacy. She's died. Well, she's dead. But do you think they would bring back Dennis Leary?
I think there's a possibility. Yeah, they could bring him back.
Because I think Marvel will be like, you know what, we like this actor, not so much this other actor. Like, J.K. Rowling's, or what's his name? J.K. whatever, who played J. Jonah Jameson.
Yeah.
I wonder if it's too late for him, though, since now he's in the, he's going to be in DC, right? Well, he was at least in the Snyder Cut.
Yeah.
Or was he? Was he in the Snyder Cut? I'm trying to think. No, he wasn't. No, he's not Perry Mason. But I thought that he was cast already for the new Batman, the Pattinson Batman.
Huh.
I mean, I may be wrong. I'm horrible with my memory with because the Batman news is so old. I saw a trailer like 6 months ago. I haven't heard anything ever since. But there you go.
It's been quiet except for all those stupid gossip going around.
Yeah. So if you have Gwen Stacy, you got to have her dad, Captain George Stacy. So there you go. Amazing Spider-Man number 56. So what's the sale?
Yep.
Any crazy sales on this, Otto?
You 9.8. You got $5,000. You can get it. You know what I mean?
God damn.
Yeah. All right. There we go. But again, 8.5, $115, the last sale. So, you get a significant drop. Even hold on, though. I do want to bring this up though. This might be a little crazy because now that I'm looking at this number, the 9.8 sold for $5,000, but a 9.6 just sold. Has a price at about $528. So that might be a super jacked up sale. So this might be actually an obtainable book, in a nice CGC grade, somewhere around that. So
good book. You're a big fan of George Stacy, then go out and get it, man.
Yeah, Doc Ock, Ramita right here. So nice yellow cover.
All right, next up is a character we have made fun of on this show numerous times because of Sony. What is it?
Madam Webb. And before I continue to Madam Web, I just want to bring this up. Suggestion, if you cannot afford that Gwen Stacy, you might want to look for the first time her and Miles Morales met, because there's going to be a romance between the two.
There you go.
Okay.
So that's a more, I don't know, it might be pricey now, who knows, because everything Miles is hot right now, it seems like. I just want to add to Madam Web is that she'll not be this old lady version that they're.
Thank God.
I hate this version. I bought this off the rack as a kid. Mikey and Tim, you too. We were all the same age. We bought this as a kid. This was awful.
Yeah. It's one of those books I bought. I bought Spider-Man back then. This is Roger Stern. It's a Roger Stern book, right? It's 1980.
Yeah. Oh, awful.
And I'm pretty sure when Sony announced that they were doing a Madam Web project, that this book got a bump. So what's it looking at now, Otto?
Average sale for a 9.8, $420. Some sucker, some guy paid $1,200 for it at one point, but oh well.
I mean, she plays a pivotal role in what's considered the Spider-Verse. So I meant, so who knows? If they have a young hot actress, then they can do something with it.
Yeah, well, look what we're looking at on the screen here. As a young kid, you don't want to see this on your comic books. My God, this is like your aunt, your grandmother. You want to see a great new character.
I don't know. She has body's kind of banging there. Look at her.
Oh, God, Tim, stop.
Come on now.
All right. Anyway, 8.5, $100 if you can find it. Go get it. 8.5. Yeah.
There you go. All right.
So next up. She looks like Aunt May sitting on Chopin.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Yeah. So next up is a pretty obvious book because in his college years, he's an intern at a certain newspaper. And who is that?
Robbie Robertson is going to be showing up in the college trilogy. Don't know what actor will play him, but he's going to be there.
Yeah, so it's Joseph Robert Robertson or Joseph Robbie Robertson. I think they just call him Robbie because of his last name, but his first name is actually Joseph. And if you've read the Spider-Man comics throughout the years, when he goes to college, I think he becomes basically he's a broke student that sells photos of Spider-Man. And he deals with Robbie Robertson a lot. And, J. Jonah Jameson has always kind of been the, let's get Spider-Man. But Robbie Robertson is kind of like the level head in the office that, has, some journalistic ability, that says, Spider-Man is not all bad. So, it's kind of like J. Jonah Jameson is the baddie and Robbie Robertson is kind of evens them out, inside the office so he doesn't get sexual harassment charges put on him. So like you said, this list is interesting. Like I said, they're not all bangers, but this is like, hey, we're gonna put these people in the film. So I meant, Amazing Spider-Man 1 through 100. All those books are pricey already as it is, but just to give you knowledge, this is where they're going. So you can kind of form in your head what the storyline is going to be if they're researching these characters, right? He's going to be in college. He's going to finally start working at the Daily Bugle, right? He's probably going to be taking pictures and selling them. J. Jonah Jameson's going to yell at him about Spider-Man. And then he's going to say, fine, just give me the pictures of Spider-Man. I'll take it. He always does the same thing. All right. Next up is a very surprising one that finally is going to meet his counterpart.
Venom. Obviously,
No.
he's definitely coming. I mean, everybody's been waiting for this to happen. To him meet Tom Hardy. He's gonna face Venom in his college years, and
So
for a reason. I mean, they want him to fight darker, more violent villains as he grows up.
yeah, so probably Eddie Brock then, right?
Yeah, Eddie Brock. Yeah.
Yeah, so there's multiple comics you can select from. Yeah, Amazing Spider-Man 252, the Marvel Team Up book, the all the other books were the first symbiote, but this is the first
Secret
Venom
Wars.
Eddie Brock cameo. I didn't put 300 up there because let's
You
face it,
better
a lot
know
of
it.
us, yeah, a lot of us are priced out of Spider-Man 300 right now. What's the pricing on $2.99 right now?
Not bad right now.
This is considered the first cameo of Eddie Brock's Venom.
Yeah, right now we've got we've got a really high sale of $15.20 for a 9.8, but then we're dropping down to an average of about $350 for a 9.8 in this, so not bad. The 9.6 drops considerably, but you're looking at anywhere from $300 to $400 for this in a 9.8, which is a great grade white book. Try to get them all linear, you might get out of your mind because that 298 is a hard one, right, Tim? No, 301.
301 is
Yes.
the hardest nut to crack in a 9.8.
9.8,
It's
goddamn
super
white cover.
flimsy cover. I've tried
Yep.
numerous times. I've given up, but 9.8's on that 301, which doesn't feature anything. It's just a famous cover that's homaged a lot. I think it actually homages 300, to be honest
Right
with you.
there, right? The issue right after, yes.
Todd has a tendency to homage himself. That's how he does things. But Venom, first cameo appearance, Amazing Spider-Man number 299 from on April Fool's Day, 1988. So there you go, man. Next up is a character we've talked about on here, and other shows our other outlets have talked about as a project that somebody was attached to.
Jessica Drew, SpiderWoman. And the really interesting part about this is there's a Spider-Woman film in development that I've heard, that it will be attached to the MCU. So I got a feeling her appearance here will be attached to that solo movie of hers that's in development.
Interesting.
So remember, the actress, producer, director / whatever she was, said that she was doing a Marvel project, and then remember she tweeted a symbol of a spider, and then people went wild thinking it was going to be for everywhere from this one to Arana to all kinds of crazy stuff. So, but Jessica Drew's been around for a minute. So Marvel Spotlight issue number 32. I know this book it's not from 197. It's from 1978, I think 79. What's the price? Has this book cooled down at all, Otto?
No, you're looking. Well, you got 1,300 recorded sales. You're cooling down. You're up 220% on this. Okay, since April. A 9.8. We had a high sale of $30,170.
Damn.
But listen to the average though. I'm shocked. $1,755 for average sales in a 9.8. But then, like we talk about, your average sales dropped to $394 for a 9.6. So, definitely obtainable at that level. The 9.6 high end was $900, just so you guys know.
And all of this started after that tweet that she did, that she was working on a female-centric and project for Marvel, for Sony, and then she tweeted a symbol of a spider, and people just automatically assumed. So, I mean, I could see us. You can't have a Spider-Woman movie without her interaction with Spider-Man, right?
And again, if you can't afford this one, her first meeting with Peter Parker in the comics, I don't know what that is, would be a book to look out for.
Yeah. That's what all these characters that are meeting Spider-Man for the first time, look them up, because I would look them up, but do your own research. I did enough pulling up all these, but
I tell you everything all the time.
I've been a big fan of first appearances, like first time Shang-Chi meets Iron Fist, the first time any of these characters meet, and later on in the list, you may see some more of this. But for the next one, you guys should all know what it is, and it's a 2-for-1. Who is it?
Reed Richards and the Human Torch. Really interesting with the Human Torch that he will be Peter Parker's very close friend in the college trilogy. I'm not sure if they're best friends, but they're going to be very close friends and getting some kind of hijinks together. So that's something to look forward to. Now, correct me if I'm wrong. Was it Marvel Team Up number 1, Torch and Spider-Man? I think
Yes.
the first 2 issues of that
Yeah.
were them,
But if
right?
I mean, we were just talking about you should look for the first meetings of
Yeah.
people. Well, the first meeting of the Human Torch is Spider-Man #1. So
Yeah, cross
so,
that off your wish list.
they met really early on. So there you go. But and then tell them about the Reed Richards part, because is it Reed Richards or Doctor Strange is going to mentor young Peter Parker?
Well, Doctor Strange, from what I've been told, Doctor Strange will explain the multiverse Spider-Man.
Okay.
Reed
But-
Richards is going to be his science mentor.
Makes
Yeah,
sense. Love it.
yeah, but Reed Richards is really going to be his real mentor. I mean, in terms of going forward into the future, Reed is a person that he really looks up to. Like, he wants to be Reed Richards. He feels that Reed has everything he ever wanted in life. He's got a beautiful, powerful wife. I mean,
Yeah.
he's got his own team. He's rich. He's smart. He's got everything. I mean, it's Peter Parker's dream come true. He's like a super nerd, right? What
Yeah.
bigger super nerd than there is Mr. Fantastic? You know?
Exactly. I mean, that's why he could talk to Tony Stark about technology stuff. But I mean, who's smarter than Tony Stark? Reed Richards.
Reed Richards. There you go.
There you go.
And I get,
All right.
was there ever a Marvel team up, Mr. Fantastic and Spider-Man? That might be something too.
Probably. There's a ton
There's
of
gotta
Marvel
be,
team up
right?
books.
Yeah,
Yeah, I
I'm
mean, he's
looking
teamed
at-
up with everybody. You know what I mean?
He has.
Yeah.
I mean, he's
But
teamed
if
up
you
with
want-
Ben Grimm a lot. You know.
If you want
Yeah.
the first meeting of them, though, get that Amazing Spider-Man #1 from the 60s. You know,
Yeah.
It's a really low-key, under-the-radar book, man.
Nobody knows about that yet.
I just want to recommend too, just for your reading pleasure, the miniseries Spider-Man Human Torch I'm with Stupid by Dan Slott is the funniest comic book I ever read.
I have
Really?
never heard of that.
Oh
You think
my
they'll take
god,
some of the
you will
source
not
material,
stop
Mikey,
laughing.
from that?
Huh?
Mikey, do you think they'll take some of the quotes and some of the source material from
Yeah,
that?
I believe so. That there's
That's
so much
interesting.
humor in there. If Black Panther shows up in there, I mean, it is such a hilarious book. I mean, you will not stop laughing, I guarantee it.
Yeah, because Human Torch and Peter Parker always have been, because
They're
they've
kids.
always kind
They
of
don't like
been
the-
friends and, breaking each other's balls, stuff like
Of the
that.
same age
God.
group, compared to everybody else.
Yeah.
Tim, we do have some sales data on this. Is it?
So let's look up Amazing Spider-Man #1. Well, what's it selling for now?
Well, actually, Fantastic Four #1, if you want to.
Fantastic Four #1.
Yeah.
Well, Spider-Man #1 is the first time they met, but let's look at
Yeah, right.
FF1 too.
All right, FF1. If you've got, if you got $191,000 hanging around, you can get a 9.2. Okay, because there is one recorded sale of a 9.2.
Damn.
If you can't hit 190K for a mere 28K, you can get a 7.0. All right. And then we're going to go down. Now, this is a funny stat right here. When you go, because this is a book that you can find in that 1.8, this is that elusive 1.8 book. A 1.8 sold for $4,200. But listen to this. When you go up to a 2.0, so from that good minus to that good solid grade, that 0.2 in a CGC grade, you're paying double. Somebody paid $9,000 for it. Okay. So I'll take the 1.8 all day, if anybody's going to let me
Because
borrow
you know
it.
why? Because under 2.0 is when they have the increments of 1.8
Yeah.
and but once they hit 2, it starts going 2, 2.5, 3.
Correct.
It starts going increments of 0.5. So
Yeah.
I can see that's a huge difference. So if you got a 1.8, man, try to press it out and get that bump, or to a 2.0 and make a big difference. So
Oh my God. But
Reed
hey,
Richards-
Man.
so remember,
everybody
this
gotta-
list seems huge, but this is a trilogy of films, and some characters may be in it for all 3 films. Some people may just pop in and out. Some people just make a cameo. So if you're saying, "Oh man, that's a ton of people to just be in one film," well, it's 3 films, and it's not going to be like Reed Richards and Human Torch may pop in and out. Maybe Human Torch hangs out with them, because right now, the Spider-Man films, he hasn't had many allies. If you think about it, right? I mean, besides Iron Man, all we see is Iron Man that shows up in it, But now, and I'm assuming this is part of the New Deal, Mikey. That's why they're doing this.
It is. Yeah. And if you look at Homecoming, let's say we did an LTS on Homecoming, there's a shit ton of characters in that film. You have Iron Man in there. You introduce Ned Leeds in there. I mean, there's so many characters you introduce in that film. And then they're not there for very long. I mean, how much screen time did Iron Man have in Homecoming?
Yeah, but I think when I say the new deal, for those who are not intimate with what we talk about as far as Hollywood stuff, that reportedly Sony and Sony and Disney have struck a new deal, and that's why they're doing this new trilogy of films. Yeah, and so now I think Kevin Feige feels more comfortable saying, you know what, I can put some of my more mainstream characters in these films now, where in the past he may have been leery, like, look, I have a contract for these 3 films. Do I really want to put these characters in it, knowing that if Sony's going to pull the rug like they did last time? Yeah. And then the fans spoke out, bad PR, and this is what we get. This is the Spider-Man we want, the one that interacts with a bunch of characters and heroes in New York City. I mean, that's the Spider-Man we want.
Yeah, and establishing relationships that'll last. Yeah, exactly. Like with the Human Torch, they're gonna keep on evolving that throughout the movies.
And you know what else is in New York City? Hell's Kitchen.
Ah, yes, the Man Without Fear. And I just want to mention this to you guys because Daredevil #1 is gonna be out of your range, and I'm sure Spidey 16 here will be out of your range either. There is one of the first comic books I ever bought in '78 was Peter Parker's Spectacular Spider-Man, and Daredevil was in it. And not only was Daredevil in it, it was the first Frank Miller Daredevil. Ah. It was the first time he drew Daredevil. I don't know what issue it was. You can easily look it up. And it was Daredevil and Spider-Man team up with art by Frank Miller.
Yeah. So this is actually Amazing Spider-Man 16 is the first time that Daredevil and Spider-Man met in the 616 comic world from 1964. So it is still a bit of a pricey book, but still cheaper than Daredevil #1. What's the sales date on this, Otto? Otto, I think you're on mute.
I apologize for that. Yeah, I was on mute. You're looking at $17K for a 9.8. But then you know what? Yeah, right. Well, let's drop down. You know what? This is a Spider-Man, not a key, but an iconic cover. It's an early under 20 issues for an 8.5, 1360. Very good. 5.0. The grade that I like. It's 278 if you can find it. So
there you go. Killer book. That's the first. And when Daredevil meets Spider-Man on the big screen, people will be like, I can't buy Daredevil #1. I can't buy Spider-Man #1. Why not buy the first meeting? I mean, a 9.8 is an anomaly. You're not going to find many 9.8s from 1964. But, my sweet spot in like the Silver Age, is like 5.0 to 7.5.
Yep, I agree with you.
Great number. But, man, there's a precipitous drop between, a 9.8 to like a 9.2. You know what I mean? I would definitely take a 9.2 though, because I still think that's hard to get. I don't even know how the hell you got a 9.8 from a book from 1964. That's amazing to me. Or that Action Comics that just sold for $3.25 million.
That's insane. That's some time traveling shit there.
That is. Some motherfucker got a time machine, went back in time with the correct currency and bought it for like whatever, the 10 cents or whatever. I've already thought about it, by the way. If you try and time travel back in time to buy comic books, you have to have the correct currency, right?
I just want to add too that there's a rumor that Charlie Cox will be in No Way Home. What I heard, he'll be as Matt Murdock, not as Daredevil.
Okay.
So, but when he's in college, Matt Murdock is suited up.
So we're going to see Matt Murdock in Spider-Man 3, right?
Yeah, he'll be. Charlie Cox will be Matt Murdock in No Way Home. But beyond that, I mean, when they meet again, he'll be as Daredevil. And this book might be a double spec because I'm hearing rumors that they want to pay homage to the Ringmaster.
Really?
Oh,
okay.
Shit, because of the first meeting.
Yeah.
And we even talked about in the past that they were going to use the classic costume that we see here.
Yeah, the yellow costume. Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, if the fans that are watching Spider-Man 3, they see Charlie Cox come on screen with his cane and his glasses, they will lose their shit because everybody will know.
They're going to go bonkers, yeah.
Oh, yeah. They'll know it's Daredevil, yeah.
Right. And I'd love to see Charlie Cox play, Matt Murdock for an extended period of time. It's another great. He plays that character as well as he plays Daredevil.
Yep. Law and Order, Matt Murdock. There should be a series. Yeah. He's lawyering up. All right. Next up is a book that we've talked about a long time ago, and it's an interesting character.
Man Wolf, man, one of my favorite characters. Yeah, he's finally going to be. Actually, he wanted to spin him off into his own movies as well. So there's could be a lot of value in this appearance here.
Yeah, so this is J. Jonah Jameson's son who first appeared once again, Amazing Spider-Man #1.
Yeah,
because he was an astronaut and he came back with some crazy moon rocks or some shit that turns him into Man Wolf. The first iterations of Man Wolf were kind of this kind of feral, crazy creature, but he ends up being this kind of space god version of Man Wolf, and I think that's the Perez run, if I'm not mistaken. And I think that's the movies that they want to make, where the Man Wolf is in, kind of becomes this cosmic kind of space god creature.
Yep, that's the one.
With his sword.
Yeah.
Brilliant,
What are we looking at on prices on this, Otto?
Well, first of all, can we just talk about this cover? J. Jonah Jameson, that's like the ultimate Drake cover to me. Like, could you picture that looks like Drake in that meme where he's like, no, I don't know. It's just something
the hands,
the hand. Look, it looks like Drake. I mean, it looks like Drake. Come on. Anyway, so we're looking at my computer froze up a little bit. So we're on a little bit of a downtrend. We did have a 198 sale on this book for $3,500. But then when you go down, you're looking at anywhere from a high sale of $350 to $9.2 to an average sale of $292. So fun book to go out there. You can probably get it raw, submit it yourself, and then see if you come back with a nice little gem here. So great cover, iconic, Romita greatness right here.
Yeah. Amari asks, aren't you too old to still be reading comic books? The answer would be fuck no. I think that's the appropriate question. Have you ever seen a naked woman be on the internet? All right, time to boot this fucker. Obviously, you're a troll.
Yeah.
Let me see.
All right, get rid of them.
All right, let me hide, remove.
Yeah, says the person who's watching a comic book show.
Yeah, right.
All right. It was nice knowing you, Amari.
Yeah.
If that's your real name, RPK. Anyway, all right. Next up on the list is a book that we've been talking about. There's been a show that's been talked about. What is it, Mikey?
I thought you were going to say Dakota North.
Well, that comes later.
Firestar and Iceman, huh? Wonder where they came from.
Right. Spider-Man is an amazing friends. Wow.
Yep. So Firestar and Iceman, if you've watched the animated series, he's in college, and those are his college roommates. This book has been blowing up recently. This is the first appearance of Firestar. Not in 616 continuity. That's in an X-Men book, but this is the book still to get. Obviously, Iceman is not. This isn't his first appearance. Spider-Man's Amazing Friends came out on December 1st, 1981. This is one of my first things that I really geeked out over was Saturday morning watching Spider-Man and his Amazing Friends, and that's where I actually first saw Doctor Strange. There was an episode where Doctor Strange was in it, and Wolverine had this weird British Australian accent.
That's right. That's right. Yep.
It's the weirdest thing ever. For the longest time, I was wondering why Wolverine has an accent. But what's the sales data on this, Otto?
It's gone up and down. It's a little bit on the low trend right now, but we did have a record high sale of $550. Average sale at a 9.8 is $300, guys. Not bad.
This book was in a corner bin for the longest time. I mean, no one cared about.
Yeah.
That and Peter Porker. Remember the Peter Porker book?
Yeah,
that was
that's
for the longest time too. And then Into the Spider-Verse came out and the book blew up. So there you go. Firestar and Iceman. We're going to see them as roommates in college, perhaps?
Mikey, they're not going to bring Iceman. It's going to bring Firestar, not Iceman, or are they going to try to do both, do you think?
They're going to do both. Yeah.
Really? All right. Yeah. Okay.
They're really going to bring this out onto the silver screen. There's a lot of excitement towards just because of the whole 80s nostalgia.
Yes.
Aspect of it. Also, the show's on Disney Plus.
Yeah. Right. No, agreed.
Also, they did not include an episode.
I always throw this question in there when we talk about it in the live chat. What was the name of their dog on Spider-Man and His Amazing Friends? Let's go. First one who answers gets a Marvel No Prize.
Let's go. Somebody's got to answer that one.
Let's see. No Google. Come on.
Come on.
Starts with L.
Did you ever see the
Nope.
Nope. It starts with L.
The never.
Boom. Manuel Diaz got it.
There's footage of a dog being killed off that the animators
Oh yeah, Miss
did.
Lion.
Yeah, it was never shown on TV. The dog getting killed.
Oh, jeez.
Oh my God. That's
Oh
awful.
my gosh. Yeah.
All right, so there you go, man. Firestar and Iceman going to be Peter Parker's roommates in college. All right, next up is, you're probably wondering why haven't we brought this character up yet? Because he's so steeped into Spider-Man's history.
Norman Osborn. Yeah,
That's right.
He's coming.
So interesting thing is, Norman Osborn actually appears later than the Green Goblin, because Green Goblin appears first and it's not revealed to be Norman Osborn until Amazing Spider-Man number 37. So if you want to get Green Goblin, go for it. It's a lot more expensive than this book is. But what are the sales data on this book? Otto?
Yeah. We're actually, this book is trending downward, you guys, at about 4%. Raw sales, you're looking at $75 to $80. And for data, no recorded 9.6s as 9.8s as of lately. A 9.6, we do have an average sale of 3,700, so not cheap. But when you get down to that 8.5, you're only at around 295. So you've got to pick and choose.
I'm surprised the first person Norman Osborn isn't higher.
Well, it will be next week after we've just talked about this.
Yeah, but he's been spec'd so much as being part of the
right.
Thunderbolts, being part of he was going to be Oscorp and Osborn, all this stuff. So I mean, I'm shocked, but people get those high value books on this. So it leave the crumbs for us. We'll buy the the mid grade.
Well, they're waiting for the trailer for him to show up.
Yeah, like I always said, man, they have
what
to
do you
see.
I say, Tim, I would wait for you to say this. Please say it.
Yeah, they have to see God come down and slap him in the face to believe it's going to happen. I mean, they have to see the character in costume moving. Even a still photo, they still won't. Like the first Hawkeye episode or a trailer you see where Haley Steinfeld is actually doing stuff, the book is going to spike. Although we've been seeing pictures of her for like months now. You know what I mean? It's just like the Loki trailer and all the stuff with the time travelers, the timekeepers and everything. It's just like, boom, blowing up. All right, so Norman Osborn, first appearance, Amazing Spider-Man number 37 from 1966. Let's get a little bit something newer. And, you got to have this since it was alluded to as one of the questions earlier.
The Black Cat. Yeah, Felicia Hardy. She's coming.
Yeah, so we couldn't really give much of an answer earlier, but obviously the Black Cat is... the Black Cat, the Spider-Man is the Catwoman, the Batman. She's a chaotic neutral, to use a D&D term, right? I mean, she steals stuff, but then she still has relations with Peter. Sometimes she helps him. More or less, she's been a good guy more so than bad guy. She's like the thief with a big heart.
I love the fact they want to keep this part of comic book history. She's attracted to Spider-Man. She's turned off by Peter Parker. And,
yeah, that's it. Just like in the comics, yeah.
Yep. And I'll never forget that one issue where he took her to his apartment and disappointment on her face. She was like, "You live here?" And she sees Peter Parker, and he's like this total nerd, right? She's like, "No, no," and she's like crying and everything. I'm like, it was hilarious, but
that's a classic.
It was so sad, but it was real. You know what I mean?
Classic bad boy syndrome. The girls want a bad boy. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
She sees Spider-Man kicking ass, and she sees Peter Parker living all broke and shit in his little apartment. Yeah.
And she doesn't want to kiss him with his mask off.
Oh my God! So I wonder when they have sex, they just cut a hole in the front of his crotch and then everything. He keeps everything else on. Oh my God, that's awful. Let's get away from that. Otto, what kind of sales we're looking on this?
Yeah, Jesus, I don't know where to go with this. You know what? Let's go. You're looking at under 2K for a 9.8. You're looking at 1770, which is the average sale. It did spike at one point for 3,200. But let's face it, if you drop down to an 8.5, you can get it for under $200 is what we're looking at for average sales. And actually the high end here, just so you know, the 9.6s, we've got about 106 recorded sales. So that seems to be about the area that people are moving this book at. So interesting about that book.
I still think this is I think this is an undervalued book. I mean, I think people kind of, when the Black Cat Silver Sable series was first announced by Sony, I think people were like, "Oh, let's start buying this," and then that project just kind of went to the wayside. But yeah, like I said, once Feige gets a hold of it, it's going to jump.
Yep.
Next up is a storyline that we've been talking about on here that everybody is expecting.
Kraven the Hunter.
Woo!
That's right, Kraven the Hunter. I think his name is Sergei Kravilov or something. Help me out here.
Very close. Very close.
Yeah. I don't even know where they got Kraven from. I guess it's a shortening of his last name, but I know his first name is Sergey. But
Yeah.
Amazing Spider-Man issue number 15. This book has been hot for a minute. I would say if you definitely can't afford this, go out and get Kraven's Last Hunt. One of the greatest storylines in all of comics, man.
I agree.
That run there. What, just for shits and giggles, what is the prices on Amazing Spider-Man 15 Auto?
Oh my God. So if you want to get this fantastic Ditko cover, Spider-Man under 20, an issue under 20, and you got $18,000, you can go and buy the 9.6 in this. Okay. So, but if you're a meager collector like me who has this in a 4.5, it's about $650. So, but $660 for a 5.0, solid grade for this book. I will say though that this book in an 8.5 or 7.5, which I would love to see, at a 7.5, it's last sold for $16.19, and in an 8.5, yeah, you were pushing $3,000. So you got to be a big Kraven fan to like, or I
think this character more so than others. I think the casting is the most important on this one.
Correct.
Correct.
Because
people have a certain thing in their mind's eye of what they think Kraven should be, and apparently the people thought that should be Keanu Reeves. Keanu Reeves has been basically put aside for every character in the MCU so far. But the right character. This is like most of the time I'm like, yeah, any actor can do it. But, I think for Kraven the Hunter, it has to be a very specific actor that looks the part and can act the part,
Carl Urban is a front runner for.
Oh, Carl Urban would be great.
He'd be just
Carl
brilliant.
Urban would be fantastic.
Oh my God, that would break the internet right there.
You need to bulk up a little bit, but yeah, he could definitely pull.
Yeah, but he's got
Kraven.
the frame for it. He could do it.
And
Carl
he was
Urban's
the charisma. I mean, he can pull off the character. Really
He was
well.
great in Dread. I mean, he is like,
oh my God, he was
just
fantastic.
the ultimate badass in Dread.
And he kept his helmet on, which was the best part. He kept the
Yeah.
helmet on, so he did all that acting without, seeing the emotion on his face, which is one of the hardest. And I would love to see him. Now, obviously, I hope they don't put a lion's vest on him, but some type of leather coat with a big lion mane. You could just see him totally walking into taking over the room.
Not all comic accurate costumes can be put on the big screen successfully.
Correct.
You know what I mean? It's just sometimes it doesn't. Although they did it with Mysterio.
They
know
did
what I
for
meing?
sure.
Yeah,
100%.
and
I agree with
They
you.
pulled it off. Yeah, they pulled it off. And that's one of those silliest costumes ever, the giant fucking fishbowl on his head.
Yeah.
And
Oh my
they
God,
pulled
loaded
it
with
off.
smoke.
Yeah. All right. Well, we've been talking about it long enough. We might as well just say it now. Who's next?
Miles Morales, and he will be. I scooped this a long time ago. Maybe people have forgotten already. I'm not sure. After Peter graduates from college and he gets married, Miles Morales is taking over. So they're gonna build up to it. But
So it's not going to be a alternate universe version of Miles. It's going to be Miles already in Spider-Man's world.
From what I'm hearing, yeah, he's gonna grow up and take over Spider-Man once. They really want, Peter Parker, his ending to be his graduation and him getting married and everything. And then move on with Miles Morales. Again, keeping the franchise fresh is what they want to do.
Yeah. So obviously, we're not going to tell you about the prices on this since it's $3-4 grand and 9.8 crazy variants. But I've been pushing this book for a long time now. The first meeting of the 616 Peter Parker, Spider-Man, and Miles Morales is in Spider-Man. I put 1 and 2 in there because Spider-Man 1 is almost a cameo first meeting because they meet it in the last panel and they just look at each other. But in issue number 2, they actually find out who each other are and where they're from. So, no need to look up sales data on this because I know this book is pretty cheap, Otto.
Yeah.
Is it?
Yeah, right. No, I thought you were talking about Ultimate Fallout 4.
No.
Yeah,
Spider-Man.
It was. Did we have a hard time finding it? Did I not find that one?
Yeah. So basically, Spider-Man 1. I mean, people were specking on Spider-Man 2. When I say 2, I meant part 2. which is the first appearance of evil Miles Morales, and people slept on this one. And this is, first of all, it's the great art of Jim Chung on the cover, absolutely killed it. And then Sarah Pacelli did the internals, so it's still a great story, but they didn't meet until well, I guess Peter Parker came out. If Miles Morales came out in 2011, and they met a year later. I mean, just the popularity of Miles Morales, they were going to eventually meet. But this is the first ever meeting of the 616 version of Spider-Man and Miles Morales, because obviously, the Ultimate Spider-Man died.
Yeah, forget it.
Spoiler alert.
Yeah.
All right. Next up, what do we got?
We have the Hobgoblin, and Ned Leeds already in the movies. You know what he's going to turn into.
So this is interesting on because the first Hobgoblin is Roderick Kingsley, and that's ASM 238. And the Ned Leeds version was revealed in ASM 289, and he was mind tricked. So he wasn't even really wanted to be a bad guy. And then they end up, spoiler alert, he ends up being killed. But I could see them doing a little bit of both for the movies, because Ned Leeds, obviously the actor that plays him, what is his name? Ed Batalon. What's his first name?
Yeah, Jacob.
Jacob Batalon lost a ton of weight to get to get into shape for this. His name is already Ned Leeds, so I mean you can go either war. What are the prices on these, Otto?
Right. Well, 238 has skyrocketed. And, just so you guys know, this doesn't have the Mark's Jewelers insert, but this, there might be. I don't know about that. But this has.
It's the tattoos.
The tattoos, right.
Yeah,
that's what makes this book different. And it will note that on your CGC label. Don't know about the recent sales for this, but you've got a high sale of $38.50 for a 9.8.
That definitely has the tattoos in it.
Yeah, for sure. But then you leveled off at $10.50 for the 9.8. And then when you get down to somewhere around the 9.0s, it's a little bit more. We had a high sale of $750. Average sale at the 9.0 is somewhere around $300 to $400. So it's out there if you find it. You just have to look for it.
Mike, I know you and I have talked about this, and it would be a more gut-wrenching turn if Jacob Batalon turned on him in, like, say, the third film, right?
Yeah, and I want to add too that don't count Roderick Kingsley out, because apparently they do want to have him in the film as the guy that gives Ned Leeds the idea and possibly even the costume to be the Hobgoblin from a tragic event that happens to Ned.
Yeah, because in the story, he's like, I believe he's mind tricked into being the Hobgoblin. Like, I can see how, there's a reason they introduced Ned Leeds in the Spider-Man film. There's a reason they introduced Eli Bradley in The Falcon and the Winter Soldier, right? They could have used anybody's name, but they used names of characters that are already in the comics. Yeah. You know what I mean? So there you go. People have been specking on this for a while, so if Ned Leeds turns on Peter, that would be heartbreaking, because that's his buddy. But maybe Roger Kingsley starts at it, and then maybe Ned Leeds gets a hold of the what do they call it? The glider, the hobgoblin.
The glider. The goblin glider.
Goblin glider. Anyway, I always thought Hobgoblin was more of a badass than Green Goblin.
He definitely was.
Yeah,
costume. I thought the glider was better too. I do want to note though, you guys, that there was a 9.9 sale on this book. Okay.
Which one? 238?
No, I'm sorry, 289. So the 289 had a 9.9 sale of $3,585. But guys, this book is very realistic to find in a 9.8, or price wise, if you can find it in a 9.8, you're looking at $159 at the highest sale for a 9.8 in this book. Yeah. So that might be the book to go after. Who knows? Yeah. Keep digging in the long boxes while you're doing it.
12-cent comics says the first Ned Leeds' Hobgoblin was $257. That is true. Yeah, but I put this one because it's revealed as he is Ned Leeds in this one. But you should get that one too. Get all of them, because 238. It's interesting on what collectors get nowadays. You know what I mean? They get priced out of the first appearance, when I get the second appearance, or when he's first revealed, or when they first meet. But next up, there's no denying on what first appearance this one is.
The Kingpin. Yeah, and they are looking to cast the Kingpin from the Daredevil.
Love it.
Same actor.
Yeah, Vincent. Yeah, they
Vincent
still want.
D'Onofrio.
Yeah, they still want.
because he was
They
perfect
haven't-
for it.
Yeah, they haven't talked to him yet, but that's who they want.
Yeah, I mean, once he played him, I mean, realistically, anybody else, they'd be like, is they're always gonna. When there's like such a good example, and people are always gonna compare it to it, right?
Correct.
You know, just like Green Lantern, they could do anything with Green Lantern, and it'd be better because the what they're comparing it to was shit. You know what I mean? So, just like, you know, Galactus. Any version of Galactus would be better than what we've already seen on the
What
big
we
screen
saw,
as a cloud. Yeah, just
Yeah.
for shits and
Oh my
giggles. How
God.
much is Kingpin or Amazing Spider-Man number 50 going for?
Well, this is a sleeper, Tim. Nobody really knew about this book.
I know it's under the radar. I'm telling
It's under
you.
the radar. Well, look, this hits one of your benchmarks right here. It's an anniversary issue, also, and
That's
a first
right.
appearance, right? So, 55,000 will get you a 9.8. Okay.
Jesus fuck.
But you know what? You got some stimulus money, and you got $1,500 hanging around. You could get an 8.5. All right. Too rich for my blood for this book. I enjoy it. For the PC, I have it around the 5.0, which is all I need for this book. But red cover, very iconic. John Romita, greatness. Just classic. You know, early or Silver Age into Bronze, or very, very Silver Age.
And Kingpin needs to be around in New York as the big villain for the street level characters. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Right.
I never really think Norman Osborn as the big baddie when I think of villain. Or you know, Kingpin is the guy in New York City when it comes to street level characters. I mean, you know,
King of the Underworld, right? I mean,
yeah, gotta have him, man. All right, the last one on the list is a very interesting one. Who is gonna be pop up in the film? I would assume this is a cameo.
Deadpool. Yeah, Deadpool is going to show up. Which of the three films, I do not know, but he is going to show up, and it's something they're very excited about. Just want to add to the Kingpin appearance will be tied in with Daredevil appearing in his films.
Wow.
sense.
And it'll be tied in with Black Cat too, because she's part of the crime underworld. Peter gets caught up in because of her, and that's how he runs into the Kingpin and Daredevil. Well, Daredevil already knows him as you know, Matt Murdock, but that's how he gets involved in that storyline. It's because of the Black Cat and her crime ties.
That makes sense.
He's
So,
right into the Kingpin
Possibly one of the Spider-Man films will have Kingpin, Black Cat,
and
in it,
Daredevil.
and Daredevil. You know,
Daredevil,
Right.
yeah.
Wow.
yeah, because
That's
you know,
going to be huge. I mean,
Spider-Man needs his allies, but this one's interesting. Deadpool, because when you think of wisecracking superheroes, you think of Spider-Man, you think of Deadpool. And crazy enough, when I started researching this, the first time they actually met was in 2006. That blew my mind. Somebody can
That's a
correct me
long
if I'm
time.
wrong, but the first meeting of Spider-Man and Deadpool is Cable and Deadpool issue number 24 from 2006. This book is
Yeah.
crazy.
No, I was going to tell you, and you can't get it wrong because now you know about it. He's on the cover, so you can go look for it. But you guys, since January of this year, this book is up 900%. Okay, 45 recorded sales, and the 9.8. I won't even tell you what it sold for. It was small change, under $100. You can get it if you can find it, and you get it graded at a 9.8. But I doubt it because that's a black cover.
yeah, but what's
you know.
interesting is so many units are being moved. Like, you know,
Correct.
you know
Raws,
what I mean?
you know? Yep, absolutely. But there are no other recorded sales, according to this, other than the 9.8, which was $52. But like we just said, there were 44 total recorded sales. So the raw comic must be moving right now.
I mean, if you would have told somebody the first time Spider-Man and Deadpool met in the comics was 2006, they were like, oh, bullshit, because Deadpool's been around since what, like 1988,
Yep.
I believe, 89?
Yep.
I mean, that's crazy. They never cross paths before.
It blows my mind. You think naturally you would meet up somewhere.
Yeah. All right. Well,
Crazy.
there you go. And as we like to do on the show, this is what we call the speed round, where I go through the long-term spec list. All right, ready? Prowler, a.k.a. Aaron Davis, for those just joining us. Gwen Stacy, researched to be in the Spider-Man trilogy of films. Her dad, Captain George Stacy. Good old Madam Webb, but not the old broad here. We're going to get a younger version for her.
So you say.
Robbie Robertson works at the Daily Bugle. Venom is going to be finally part of Spider-Man. Jessica Drew, She's Spider-Woman. She's got to be in Spider-Man as well. Reed Richards and the Human Torch, because Human Torch is his best buddy, and Reed Richards will be his science mentor. Daredevil will also be in it because, you know, when you have Kingpin, you got to have Daredevil. Man-Wolf, who is J. Jonah Jameson's son, who may probably spin off into his more spacefaring odysseys of a man-wolf space god. Firestar and Iceman are probably the easiest one on this list since the trilogy of films that is going to take place during Peter Parker's college years. And, of course, Norman Osborn. Got to have Norman on there. Black Cat. Got to have her on there. Kraven the Hunter. And hopefully we get a Kraven's Last Hunt storyline.
You will, yeah.
There you go.
You will.
Of course, you got to have Miles. Of course, you have to have the first meeting of Miles and Peter Parker. And we can't have the Green Goblin without the Hobgoblin. Of course, we have to have the Kingpin. And to round things off, just because they want to throw Deadpool and everything, Deadpool. And that's it, boys. It goes a cool hour, and, well, we were stunning late, so it was about 90 minutes, man. We appreciate you guys for joining us. I hope you guys enjoyed the letters. As always, if you're watching this, you know what? I would say we answer questions in the live chat, but we've already ran a little bit too long. So if you have questions for Mikey, leave them after this video post in the comments section, and we will, if Mikey chooses so, we'll get to it next Sunday. Right, Mikey?
Yeah, and I just wanted to say that my only disappointment in the LTS is that where's Hypno Hustler? Come on, man. I want to see Hypno Hustler.
Right. Where's the dot? Where's the dot? Remember the dot?
Oh
no, the spot. I'm sorry, the spot.
Oh, Christmas.
There are so many villains, and I mean, you know, it's Spider-Man's Rogues Gallery and Batman Rogues Gallery. They have some great, like the top 10 are great, but then there are some really suspect
Condiment
ones.
King.
Condiment King
versus Spot, it would just be,
there's some really weird ones, but thank you guys all for hanging out Thank you guys all for hanging out with us, all 160. Make sure you like this video. Make sure you subscribe. Hit that notification bell if you're new to the channel. Really appreciate you. 160 you hanging out with us on a Sunday. We know it's end of the work week. You want to chill out, but hopefully Mikey was able to answer your questions, and hopefully though you got some of those books on the long-term spec list. Any last words, Otto?
No, thank you very much for enjoying a Sunday night with everybody in the chat. Follow us on 3 Men in a Basement. We're on Instagram at 3 Men in a Basement, all one word. Also, tomorrow night, Roger Levesque, my co-host, is not having the Cranky Canadian as a guest on. What we are doing, for those of you guys you don't know that haven't been following 3 Men in a Basement, we will be presenting Pauly Strong, the Pauly Strong Foundation, which is a childhood cancer advocacy group. Through your donations, through the IG comic book community, Roger, myself, Pressable Defects, have raised $2,500 to buy you. Thank you for buying unused Legos for children fighting illnesses at the Boston hospital. Okay, the Boston Children's Hospital. So tomorrow we will have the father of Pauly on the show on 3 Men in a Basement to check it out, also with the defects, and also to find out who wins what. You're going to win. The 25 people are going to win. So you got to find out. Jump in. All so right. Thank you very much.
All right, Mikey, before you leave, Otto, who is your guest on the cameo appearance on episode 5 of Falcon and Winter Soldier? What do you think, Otto?
It's Kate Bishop. That's my guess.
Yeah,
Mikey says Kate Bishop. He's
Kate
saying
Bishop. I have no guess on this. I have no idea, because no matter what you say, it's going to be wrong and it's going to be a letdown. So I don't know.
Here's my wild guess from left field. It's either Gambit or Quake, because they're both from Louisiana. And this episode takes place back in Louisiana.
Yep. Interesting.
I would lose my fucking mind if it's Quake.
Yeah, that's right. Well,
technically, Quake hasn't appeared in the MCU yet. She's been on Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., which was not part of the MCU. Correct. So for those wondering at home, they specifically said the character has not been in an MCU project or is not planned for an MCU film. I don't know if they were just parsing words when they said that. I took it as an MCU project, so it's somebody who hasn't already been planned that with an upcoming show or movie. So I'm left with Quake, who hasn't been in the MCU, and Gambit, who's from Louisiana. But I'm probably wrong. But either way, it'll be fun anyway. Mikey, any last words? Where can you find all your stuff?
Well, you can find me at geekositymag.com. Every day we're always posting stories and scoops and everything. I want to also say that TiVo, maybe one day we should do a Sony special because I actually have more information beyond the long-term speculation list we had tonight. I have more specifics to add to that, so maybe we can do a Sony special the next couple of weeks and have fun with that.
Sony in general or Sony Marvel?
Sony Spider-Man, yeah, Sony.
Spunk. What are they? Speed, S-P-U-M-C.
It sounds so wrong. It sounds so wrong.
The worst acronym ever, Spunk or whatever.
Yeah,
it is.
there's like spin-offs from some of these characters, and you can delve into Kraven the Hunter more. And there are other books I want to mention. There was a Spider-Man annual from 1980 that was drawn by Frank Miller. Was Spider-Man and Doctor Strange.
Yes.
Now, this book is being heavily researched by Marvel Studios for some reason. So
really?
I don't know what they're gonna pull out of that book. But it had Doctor Doom in there as well.
Which book is that?
Okay, let's take a look.
Spider-Man annual from 1980. With Spider-Man, Doctor Strange. It had Frank Miller art. It's one of my favorite Spider-Man books of all time. And it's one of those double-sized annual stories. And apparently it's being heavily researched, and I don't know why. Like they're going to pull something out of it. I know you're a big Doctor Strange fan, so...
We do know Doctor Strange is going to be in Spider-Man 3.
So maybe this will be a part of the inspiration for that, or, like, I don't know. It's been so long. I mean, I have my copy somewhere that I bought off the stands a long time ago.
People in the live chat are saying it's Spider-Man annual number 14. Let me take a look, see. Oh, yeah, Doctor Strange is right there on the cover.
Yep,
Spider-Man annual number 14 from 1980. Good memory on you, Mikey. Damn.
And little interesting trivia for all the music people out there. There is a band featured in that comic book that actually exists in real life.
Really?
And no one knew who they were at the time. The lead singer of that pseudo-fictional band actually existed. There's actually an ad for the band in the comic book. I guess Frank Miller was a fan of this group. Anyway, the lead singer became the lead singer of Monster Magnet.
Really?
Shit.
Yeah, like a decade or so later. And he had a song called Eagle the Living Planet.
Jesus Christ, talk about 6 degrees of separation.
And
So Eagle the Living Planet, and he was...
Another tie-in, he also had a song called Negasonic Teenage Warhead.
Yes, Megasonic Teenage Warhead. Yes.
Right.
Which is where they got the character name for that.
I knew that. Yeah, right.
All right, Spider-Man annual number 14. I'm
really meta here. So
that is inside.
It was a great band. They never just made it over the top.
Well, meanwhile, the DC is making a Flash reboot film. All right, anyway,
boom, boom.
Just kidding. Just like to nab at some of the DC hardcore.
So I don't know why they're
fans
researching this book, but keep an eye on it because again, it's Frank Miller as well. He drew it. So.
Yeah. So for those who don't know. So Feige and whoever at the heads of Marvel basically have their research team get a hold of certain comic books to see what storylines they could pull. If you notice, most of the Marvel movies are based, if not a little bit, or mostly all on some type of comic book storyline. I mean, so that's because Kevin Feige is a comic book fan first, and he knows the stories to tell. So there you go, man. So. Appreciate you guys all for joining us. I am starving. I need to go eat me some dinner. So we will see you Tuesday. We will see you Tuesday for the Cover Price Top 10. Hit the like button, subscribe, hit the notification bell. Until next time, boys and girls, keep digging in them long boxes. Peace out.
Now let's do this. Rewind, select and come again. Pull up that from the top to the very last. Jump.
Who are you to make their lives bitter in hard bondage? In this you shall know that the Lord is faithful. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, do it! We're here! We're back! Word up! Can't do my job! You can't get fresher than this.
In the great hall of the Justice League, there are assembled the world's 5 greatest heroes. Their mission, to fight injustice
to right that which is wrong, and to serve all mankind.
When it comes, I won't even notice. Oh, how so? I'll be too busy looking good.
Can't understand.